When one door closes,
another one opens.
Welcome to the True North Lifestyle Podcast. Joe here again with Rick Labby.
hello.
Old Guide Mike.
Hello.
And today, Jeff, what is your last name?
Osborne.
All right.
Yeah.
Jeff Osborne from Peak Taxidermy is here with us. Jeff is coming on board with us, and we thought it'd be good to get him up here and talk hunting, fishing, taxidermy.
I got a quick question. Are you related to Joe?
I'm not related to him, but he's one of my good buddies.
Okay.
He said he was
Good.
fishing with you.
Yeah.
He's as good as they get.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he is.
He's a
I was
good
waiting
boy.
for that.
He edits my films.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and my cousin Steve own a camp together in two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super guy.
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, where'd you come from today?
I came from Winterport, couple-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Saw a doe and a fawn. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't tell you guys where.
They're
Mike's
safe.
the fawn
They're
killer.
safe.
So.
Don't worry. Don't tell Mike.
What do
Yeah.
you mean I'm a fawn killer?
Yeah.
I had to say it, Mike. I didn't mean it. Mike's mad at me because these guys have been here telling stories for the last 20 minutes. And it was interesting stuff, talking about bobcats killing turkeys and leaving fans and beards. And I said, Mike, save it for the podcast.
And now we're rolling,
Okay.
and everybody's nervous.
And he kept,
Yeah,
and he kept telling the story.
We're all sitting here. We got nothing to talk about right now.
Yeah. But anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff.
Yeah, so born and raised in Millinocket. Went to school at New England School of Communications. I worked in the hunting industry for 10 years,
Wow.
filming and producing hunting television shows. Realized I didn't really love it. Kind of got a little bit burnt out and a little bit boring.
Any of you prospective videographers that are talking to us, don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, no, it's
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
He has a radio. He has a radio voice though.
yeah, and
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
and face. Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. I got to travel the world. The filming side of it was really cool. You know, I've been to Alaska, Newfoundland, all over the Midwest. That part of it was awesome. It was the sitting in front of a computer for days and days, and we didn't only do our own in-house stuff, but we also did 25 other people's hunting television shows. So
Wow.
it was just like, I mean, how many times can you edit a deer coming in, getting shot? You know, it got real repetitive.
So now I didn't even realize Neil and I, talked a little bit, and he told me about you and your story a little bit, but he had a couple stories here he wanted me to ask about, but nothing mentioned your background in that. So,
Yep.
were you like a subcontractor that was kind of freelance doing it for different people, or?
That's kind of how I started out, was subcontracting through one guy. I basically just worked for one guy, and then those other guys would hire us to produce their shows. But it was like kind of, I don't know. I remember one hunt specifically. The guy wanted a full television show, which was like 22 minutes and 30 seconds without commercial breaks and all that. And it was a turkey flying down into a field, walking across the field, shooting it, and that was it.
22
Slow
minutes.
motion.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
like it was that kind of stuff that was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is just, it
Yeah.
just became more work than it
Yeah,
than it
I
was
can.
fun.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I have a degree in videography, and it's cool, looking back. I met my wife there, so it was worth the $80,000 for that. But I can say now that I chased my dream.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I could have went to school to play baseball at a couple different colleges, nothing crazy, but just within Maine, and got a whatever degree. But I chased my dream, and I did it, and I just found out that it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, and that there would be other outlets in that I could still be in the outdoor industry. And my old boss at the time, actually, when I was working for that company, he used to do taxidermy back in the day. So I had killed a couple bears, and I had always been interested in it. Ever since I was 16, I shot my first buck, and it was 150 something inch 9-point.
Nice.
And I just was mesmerized by the mount. It was just the
Yeah.
coolest thing. And
Right.
I never thought of it as a career path at all. But yeah, he showed me how to mount those kind of couple bears, and that was in 2016. And then I just started YouTube Academy, and looking up and researching and talking to people, and people letting me have their mounts or deer for the year and mount them, which I don't know why they trusted me with them, because I look at them now and they're not good.
Yeah.
But they
got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a good learning curve. And then 2021, I opened up my business, and I've been doing that part time for ever since.
Taxidermy is one of those businesses where, like you just said, you start out and you think, wow, this looks so great, and then you look back at your work 3 or 4 years ago and you go, wow, that wasn't that good. I'm really good. I'm getting better.
Yeah, I do that each deer still.
I bet.
Or each moose, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I
learn
look
a new
at
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything just gets a little bit easier.
The
each
detail.
time. Yeah.
Right, and easier. Right, it's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, taxidermy is number one. I think it takes the right personality. I don't think I
Absolutely.
could ever do it. I know it about myself. I'm not patient enough. It's interesting when you're sitting here telling me about you got started. You were in videography, and I imagine you were probably really good at it. And Brian Donaghy, who has Northeast Custom Taxidermy, is who's done my work for the last few years,
Yeah.
and I've known him quite a while. And he's also an excellent videographer. He's one of those guys that jumps into something and is just really good at it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he's actually gone full time with that too. And it's the kind of business that if you're good at it, you're going to do well, because there's just not a lot of really good guys out there doing it. I mean, you're going to have all the business you want, I think.
Yeah, there's plenty of business for all of us out there right now.
Yep.
Even with some of the newer guys still coming into it.
I
And Brian helped me out a lot. Actually, I did
Really?
detachable antlers for the first time on my bull from last year.
Okay.
And he was sending me videos on how to do it, because he
Great
had
guy, yeah.
he had
Good.
the state record archery bull that he mounted up.
Okay. Right.
And
Yeah.
so he just happened to be doing that at the same time that I was doing mine. So he was sending me videos on how to do it. It was between him and Crown of
Awesome.
Maine, Cody up in like the Holton area.
Yeah.
Between those
Right.
two guys, they saved me on that big time.
Wow.
He did that 72-inch bull that Matt and I got out. Matt shot in Alaska.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did that for him. And I got to tell you, before detachable antlers, I don't know how you get that in the house.
I don't either.
I mean, it was, and once you get it in there, to be able to actually put it up would have
Yeah.
been a job. So detachable antlers, after you get your score done, if you want it scored.
Right.
I used to have a thing against it. I always wanted to keep it whole, and Brian would be like,
Well, that's the
"Why aren't you?"
purist in you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why don't you? He said it doesn't matter at this point. And he's right, And
Yeah.
so I would always get detachable. At this
I
point.
think so. When I was a kid, Dave Cody was my taxidermist, Central Maine Taxidermy over in Vassarboro, Maine.
Yeah.
And Dave was just a phenomenal guy. I met and that's how I met him. I had my first deer mounted with him. Well, then I was so intrigued with taxidermy, I wanted to help him do and learn to do my own deer. So I started mounting my own deer with him, and he'd help me through it, and I really liked it. So next thing I know, I wanted to buy his business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that 1 year I wanted to buy his business, he says, okay, you're going to work with me this fall. Well, I realized real quick, I said, this is not the business, because I wanted to hunt.
Yeah.
I want to be in the woods
it's
every day.
tough.
And I said, I can't do this, even though I loved it. But one thing about taxidermy is if you don't recognize the detail in everything you're mounting, you'll never be good at it.
Right.
Yeah, like a bobcat. The whole thing with a bobcat is getting that face 100% to look real.
a bobcat to
Is
me,
the toughest.
Oh,
to
yeah.
me
Bobcat,
is the
coyotes.
animal that you can look at, because if you see one done poorly,
Yeah.
oh my God, is it bad? And one of the most impressive bobcat mounts was one Brian did a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's doing
Was
one
just
for me right now.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so you're right. That is the thing that the feline.
He's doing
the-
one for me right now, and I think he sent me a text the other day, and they sent him an open mouth. That the biggest cat I ever killed was 2 years ago, a 46-pound cat, and I wanted an open mouth mount. Well, he got the open mouth, and he's like, I don't like it. So he cast his own open mouth. He sent me a picture of it the other night, which is his own open mouth cast,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
working on it now. So
But
I think it's going to be phenomenal.
It just takes. I mean, just from the little bit you're talking, you've got to be a detail-oriented person. You've
Yep.
got to be someone that really, because I look at a mount, I don't see the things that someone like you sees that's wrong with it,
Mhm.
just because you've done it. I'll look at it. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That looks great. And then you get someone that really knows what they're looking at,
Yeah.
and they can just pick it apart, and find and explain to you why. I remember I had one done by someone here local a number of years ago that it was just a set of sheds I found, and they had a cape. So they said, yeah, we'll put that on there. It was the worst, hideous mount you've ever. The eyes were wrong. They had the whites on the wrong sides, so it looked like it was like.
Did you see that?
It wasn't like
Did
the
you
time
see
I was
that one?
getting ready to.
Yeah.
Cross-eyed one?
Did you see? Yeah, did
It
you
was
see
the
it?
one in the lodge.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
terrible. And actually, when
It's a cross-eyed deer.
Yeah.
when I had the fire at the lodge, I took all my stuff down to Brian, and he cleaned everything up for me, and he looked at that thing, and he's like, I've got an old moose down in the basement that was mine, and I just want the antlers off it. He goes, I'll put them on that. I said, perfect, please do it. And got rid of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no,
so-
it's hair patterns, it's the eyelashes, the eyebrows, it's everything that it's there for a reason, and it has a place, and it needs to go back where we're trying to recreate what God did.
Yes.
He made something perfect.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to recreate that, and we're not perfect because we're humans.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
elements.
that's a great
but,
statement
yeah.
right there.
That's a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
So
Yeah.
you said you started at your part-time.
Yep,
So
part
you're
time.
not doing it full-time. Do you plan to go full-time?
That's a touchy subject because my bosses might be watching.
No, then that answer is no.
No,
Strictly a hobby where
no,
you make a couple bucks.
One of them sees it coming. I'm getting busier and busier every year, and I'm turning away more money than I'm making, and so it's one of those things where it's just kind of falling into place. And I never set out with intentions of it being a full-time job. It was always a great side hustle, put some extra spending cash to put back into my land for projects. But I'm at the point now where I'm getting more and more phone calls every year, and I'm within the next couple of years of making
more
a
of a
decision.
passion than a hobby for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it. I want to be in my shop all the time.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a preference? Would you rather do deer heads, or do you like doing?
I like doing them all. I don't love the small stuff like weasels, and you start getting under like a fisher, and it's just you're not getting your money's worth. They're so tedious. The forms that are out there is not a lot, and they're not good.
Do you like mounting big game rather than fish?
I don't do fish or birds, so
okay.
I only do mammals.
That's
Okay.
great. Yeah, that's good.
So
Yeah.
for me, it's a whole different skill set to do birds. You got to get all the feathers in place. It seems tedious to me. There's some guys that I appreciate it. They're beautiful when they're done, and same thing with fish. But it's you're just painting, and it's I don't consider myself a painter.
It's funny. It's you go from that the little tedious and all that, and it makes me think of my first moose that the first time I went to Alaska, the bull I got out there, I brought back, and my friend Colt Pierce is I don't know that maybe he's just doing deer heads now. I'm not sure, but I think he pretty much finished up after that. But he said he would do my moose because he'd never done a Alaskan moose or something that big, and the work on it actually messed his shoulder up from stitching because it was such a long process. And I mean the work he put into that form to get it, because I wanted a challenging head down tilted, and they just don't make that,
right?
Especially for an Alaskan bull, something that size. And he custom did. He took a straight on upright mount and made it.
I saw it.
Challenging bull.
It's the best mount you got over there.
Yeah, I'll take you over after and show you. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was one of those things where I realized, it's not just, you do something that big. I mean, he literally physically hurt himself mounting that moose to where I think he had to get some help that season to finish up all the deer heads that he had committed to.
Yeah, moose are probably my favorite thing to mount. I thoroughly enjoy them. They are a ton of work. They don't make a ton of forms for them. It's not like a whitetail where you take your measurements and you can get a form doing any position you can think of. A moose, you almost, I don't want to say always, but pretty consistently have to alter them in one way or another.
Right.
Yeah. And that part, that's fun, because then you get to be creative, especially when a guy like you comes in and he wants it doing something cool with some attitude, and you can roll the eyes, and it's a lot of fun.
So I know you've only been doing it for 3 or 4 years, as far as like we'll call it full part time.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're doing more of them.
Yeah.
But how many how many animals do you typically take in a year? I mean, what can you take to where you're comfortable saying, yeah, I think I can do this? Because I think that ends up being the issue.
Right.
It's just
when do you say
overwhelmed.
no? Yeah, it's hard to say no, because as soon as I say no to you, it's
Yeah.
you go somewhere else and you lose a client forever. So
Right.
it's tough. Last year, between bobcat and fisher and marten and deer and moose, I think I was right around 50 animals, and that's pretty doable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's it's every night after work. I get home at 4:30, and I'm in the shop every night. Weekends, I'm out there just about every weekend. So
How do you balance it? I'm assuming you love to hunt as well.
Yeah.
So-
I always make time for hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. I'll be in the stand getting phone calls in November, and I'll ignore them and text them. Hey, in the stand, what can I do for you?
Yep.
And I'll make meetings on the weekends during deer season. It's you got to be there at noon. Like I need you at my house at noon.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
because I want to hunt too.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
But to get up and like last year, I missed out on quite a bit of moose just because I was on my own moose hunt. So, there was it's a give and take.
What
Yeah.
zone were you in?
4.
So
Oh,
let's
no
hear about
kidding.
your hunt.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how you guys felt about the change in the October week, but it was tough.
Oh, you mean having 2 weeks in between?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
All right.
again this year.
You're talking to the right guys.
Yeah.
It's the last year. Supposedly, it's the last year we're going to have it. And
Yes.
We're also hopeful that we're going to have a Zone 8 September hunt or Zone 7, 8, and 9 September hunt next year.
Okay.
But yes, that's
Yeah. It was probably because this was my third time being drawn, and I've shot 2 like you. I've shot 2 with a bow.
yeah.
I shot the first one.
You're
was,
one of those guys.
Yeah.
That's been drawn
Yes,
3 times.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
felt last year when I got drawn, I actually felt guilty. It took me about a day and a half to like come out of that.
Yeah,
Like
you got over it. though,
I did
didn't
get
you?
over it. Yeah, yeah. Once you actually could see your name on the list, it's like okay, I can do this. But 2010, I drew my first tag. Shot a 50-inch bull on opening day in the first 15 minutes.
What zone?
That was 4.
4 also.
Yeah, and then that I think he scored like 170. At the time, he was like tied for 7th in the state with a bow.
Oh, nice.
But where he lies now doesn't really matter. It's a great bull.
Yeah.
2019 got drawn.
Excuse me. He must have had some good palms on him.
He wasn't wide. He was 46 inches wide, but he had those long, wide palms.
Yeah, and he scored in the 170s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
Beauty.
Big, long palms, just big forked fronts. Had no idea he was there. Just started blind calling in the first cut, and he come just here. 500 yards away, and he comes out with trees in his horns.
Yeah.
And he was going to slide downwind of us, and then my dad started raking and grunting, and it pulled him right past me.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And
Your
then
dad was with you. That's
yeah,
even better.
yeah, he's been with me on all of them.
Oh,
He's
nice.
my number one guide.
Glad to hear
Awesome.
that. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then in 19, I got drawn again for Zone 6. Didn't know that zone at all, so we did a bunch of scouting. Found some good bulls. It was a real wet September. These were both September hunts. It was real wet and warm. Everything we kind of had set up and planned was for a north or west wind. So to get into all these other places, we didn't really have a game plan. So we had called the road system. No response, nothing. It was getting close to middle of the day, close to 80 degrees, raining. We went to the end of the road, turned around, came back, and there's a bull like 500 yards up the road right where we were just calling. So we got out, got a decoy out. I had 3 of my buddies with me, and then my dad, and then one of them was holding the decoy, and we all just got behind it, and I started cowbellowing, and he just started raking alders and walked right at us, and I shot him at 30 yards.
Wow.
Nice.
Are
Yeah.
any of these filmed?
Oh, yep, they're all on YouTube actually. I used to have a YouTube channel too, Calm Before the Storm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
Well,
do.
I want to be sure and check that out.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you type in Calm Before the Storm and then Maine, it'll pop right up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't do the YouTube stuff anymore, but and then last year's moose set out to do with a bow. First moose hunt I've ever been on where we got 0 responses. We had some younger bulls come in. I was going to be picky. I shot 2 pretty good bulls. That second bull was 800 and something pounds, low 40s, like 44 inches wide.
Yep.
So I was like perfectly fine eating a tag. Like I wanted a
Yep.
good bull.
Yep.
And passed up a couple small bulls through the week, fork horn spikes, and a couple little palmy guys, but just nothing. We just couldn't get anything going. It was just like you see a moose and then it's done. Your day's done. Saw some cows. And then on the very last day, my wife is pretty much only eats meat. And she said, can you just please shoot a bull? Like, I want the meat. Just please shoot one. And I was still like, I will, but I don't want to just shoot one just to shoot one, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm at that age now, and I've shot enough animals now where I don't want to walk up on something and be like,
Right.
crap, you know?
Yeah.
So I told her I would anyway. And we went in and called in the spot, didn't find anything. So we were going to circle back through in that area and pick up some cameras. And, you know, nothing fancy on this hunt at all, just a road hunt. We just driving by a cut and looked up it, and 150 yards up the twitch trail's a bull. And we get out, and I draw a bead on him, and I see his fronts, and they look pretty good. You know, I didn't know what he was, but they look pretty good. And I go to shoot, and I have a 7600, and I must have had my slide a little bit more forward. So when I threw the mag in, I went right over the top of the bullet.
Oh.
So I pulled up and click. I was like, holy crap. And so by that time, my dad came around the truck. He's aiming at the bull. He's running straight away from us. Just see palms and his bell swinging. And we're both just drawing a bead on him and waiting because they're always, most of the time, going to stop. And that's what he did. He stopped and swung to his left. And as soon as he got in the open, and boom, and he right down.
Nice.
Yeah, ended up being a 52-inch bull.
Oh,
Awesome.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
palms. Not
Yeah.
real long, like tall palms, but good wide palms. Big,
Yeah.
big fork
You and your
fronts.
dad both shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one hole in it, so.
You never know.
We'll never know. Yeah, so it's
You
our
guys are
ball.
taking that down to forensics.
Yeah, we're both
Match up to the barrel.
both shooting 30-06, both Hornady rounds, you know, like
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that bailed you out of the
cool.
wife, the orders from the wife, huh?
it did, and actually, unfortunately, he's probably the worst moose I've ever eaten in my life.
Really?
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the gamiest moose.
Yeah.
He was
No
old.
kidding.
He's 7.5 years old, and he was a bag of bones, and he weighed 660 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was on the 19th of October.
Great full of testosterone,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
he's like tenderness wise, he's fine, but
I've
flavor wise,
I've eaten some bucks that way over the years that you just couldn't stand to eat them.
yeah,
You know, I didn't look forward to cooking the meat.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing
Yeah.
basically feeding it to the dog,
Yeah.
which is too bad.
But there's no rhyme or reason on those. I mean, it could be the biggest buck you've shot
Yeah.
for a long time,
Yeah.
and he eats like a lamb.
Oh, my
and then
God.
you
yeah.
shoot a
Yep.
6-pointer.
They
and
taste great,
yeah,
and then you shoot. Yeah.
I found there's no rhyme or reason. Do you think there is?
I don't either.
I don't.
No.
See, always a big old one. He's not going to eat good.
No.
That don't mean.
No,
No.
don't
Especially
mean
with
anything.
moose,
Yeah.
it means nothing.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like you could tell that he was putting the feed bag back on. He was just in one little spot. There was 5 or 6 beds. We probably drove by him for 2 or 3 days. He's just getting up, feeding on maple shoots, laying back down.
Yeah.
So he wasn't moving at all. So I don't know if it's just if they're really worn down, they get
He
that way.
could
or
have
not.
something wrong with him too.
He-
You know,
he
you
could
never
have,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but he should have been a couple 100 pounds heavier.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
in his
yeah.
prime
A lot
at
of
least.
ticks. Was there a lot of ticks on him?
No,
No kidding.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, there was ticks, but it wasn't bad.
Nothing bad. Yeah.
No, I mean we
Yeah.
don't see a ton. We shed hunt every
Huh.
year, and we don't find a lot of dead moose.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we found a dead moose on that
That's
east
good.
side of 4 anyway.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
I did that, what you described a few minutes ago. I did that on a moose hunt where it was my third, as a sub or as a permittee, it was my third moose. And I killed 2 real nice ones, the first 2, and this third one I was like, it's with the bow or nothing. Like at 3 o'clock on Saturday, I left my bow back and called one out to 30 yards.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
And shot it. And I felt like that. I looking back on it, you know, I don't know if it was frustration or what it was, but I killed a bull that, you know, I killed it for the meat.
Yeah,
And which to me, moose meat is, I mean, my wife loves moose meat, which she doesn't love deer meat. So
Yeah.
we always want the moose meat. So
Yeah.
it was great we had the meat, but as far as the bull itself, it was what you described where you're kind of like, yeah. So, and I shot that bull with 20 minutes left to shoot light on Saturday, the last day. So then when I drew again, which was this bull, I said, I'm shooting it with a bow. And I was definitely wasn't killing anything at all unless I
Yeah.
killed it with my bow. And it didn't have to be a giant. I just wanted a good hunt. My
Yeah.
daughter was there with me and just wanted it to, and it was everything I wanted, you know, and I think there's a lot to, when you go into a hunt like that, making your mind up and sticking with it all the way through.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and having that group of people that you're with be on the same page.
Oh, absolutely.
You get 1 or
Yeah.
2 guys in camp you know, and I'm guilty of it too.
They're
you
like
know,
a
you
devil
want,
on your shoulder.
yeah, you want to, like, we got to kill one, and it doesn't need to be that way. Like, there's plenty of guys that go home without filling those tags.
Nothing wrong with that at
the
all.
success rate isn't super high in most zones, so it's okay if you don't shoot one. I fully, you know, it's your tag. You can shoot whatever you want, and you know, but hunt. You know, my first 2 moose were on Monday. This time I shot them on Saturday morning, and it was the best moose hunt I've ever been on.
Right.
You know, just to enjoy everybody's time. My Joe, he happened to wake up every morning because he was filming that hunt for us.
Yeah.
And he woke up every morning and goes, guys, we get to go. My wife was there too. She's like, guys, we get to go moose hunting today. And it's like, I know, that's awesome. Like, so having that group of guys, I mean, everybody wants it to be, you know, all their buddies with them. But if you got a bad attitude buddy,
no,
one guy will ruin the whole camp.
Yeah.
You know what we call it? It's a cancer. You
Yeah.
can't have cancer in the camp.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
Bear camps are like that. You go to bear camp, you get one asshole there. He ruins it for everybody else.
Yeah.
I've thrown him out.
Yeah, I
I've
don't blame
thrown
you.
him out, send him back to the lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a poison.
I want to reflect on what you just said about having the hunt. So I went to Saskatchewan with my dad. I don't know, it's like 37, 38 years now. We haven't gone every single year, but over that time we've probably gone 28, 29 trips to Saskatchewan. And we got to the point where for a few years I shot like 160-inch buck first day, and then I was stuck in camp all week. And I got
that doesn't sound like a terrible problem.
Really, it's about the hunt.
Right.
Okay. To me, it's all about the hunt. To me, the experience, the whole deer camp, the whole being out there, and the whole works. And in previous years, we hunted with an outfitter that if you shot out, he would let you go out and set in a stand, and you could video a glass and all that. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. One year, he says, "Nope." And I'd shot out, and he goes, "Nobody's setting in any stands no more." So I was stuck in camp the whole entire week, and I just told myself, I said, I am never doing this again.
Mm-hmm.
Come all the way to Saskatchewan, shoot my deer in the first couple hours, and I'm stuck in camp the whole week. And all I could do was go bait with these guys. That was it. Go check stands. So I just made up my mind that I was going to hunt, and I was going to kill a particular deer, and that would change my whole hunting career right there.
Mm-hmm.
That I just said, I'm going to stop being selective and shoot the deer I want to kill, not just to put one on the wall anymore. And it did. And to this day, I enjoy the hunts more, just passing up animals.
Yeah.
And the whole hunt. And I knew I spent my whole week pursuing the deer that I wanted to kill rather than shooting a deer, and I had regrets.
Right. Yeah, and then you could sit there and say, I could have shot any deer I wanted to.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I let a 200-inch typical go 3 times one year. Remember that story on that giant 12? 200-inch typical. I let him go 3 times the first morning one year, and I never shot him. Yeah, never saw him again the rest of the week, and that's the only one
you got to let him go if you want him to grow.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah, another year he'd be a good one.
Yeah, I think he might have gone downhill the next year.
Yeah.
Don't let one walk on Monday. You'd shoot Thursday.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always feel like, and I tell clients this all the time. You can never predict how it's going to happen, but if I had to pick a perfect week, it'd be shooting a bull on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
where you get enough of it that because you see a lot of people that aren't used to. I mean, being out in the woods all day to some people, if they're not used to it, is a long day.
Saturday's a pressure day.
Oh yeah, Saturday's panic.
You get the Tuesday afternoon. They start Monday morning. Oh, yeah, we're waiting for a big one. We're only killing a big one. Tuesday afternoon, they're ready to shoot anything.
Yeah. Next one that comes out.
See it all the time.
They change,
especially
just like
if a wife is the permit holder that doesn't necessarily want to be there, and going back to what you said. If you have someone, but I found that it's nice if you can get a few moose in and then kill one later in the week, where you get the week, but you're not down to that pressure day.
Yeah.
Because it does become a pressure day to some people. I had my clients last year for the second week were they're friends now. I mean, they're guys that I've guided deer hunting and moose hunting now, and we saw a lot of bulls but none of them were what they were looking for, and they were perfectly great. I mean, it was just, and I love it because it really, you're having a good time then.
Yeah,
you're
for
just hunting
sure.
the whole week.
Yeah.
You're enjoying it, and there's no pressure.
That's the aura you want in camp.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
What he was talking about, exactly.
Yeah.
I've gone down to Saturday many times. Went down to Saturday with Walt, remember?
Oh yeah,
Remember? And those guys
Yeah.
are like Friday. They're like, aren't you even nervous about this? I said, no, don't worry, we'll get one. They go, oh, we got one more day. Don't worry, we'll get one.
Honestly, that last day is better than Monday most of the time.
Yeah.
You
You
got
had
things figured out.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, especially in September, usually just because of the phase of the rut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that was September. But also, if you remember on that hunt, they videoed a 60+ inch bull on Tuesday that you called in.
Monday.
Was it Monday?
The first one.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
I mean, unbelievable.
Huh?
And Walt was a very good friend of mine that came up and
Walt
was,
LaPlante.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And super guy, super experienced hunter, done a lot, and he wanted to shoot this thing with a crossbow. And he was an avid bow hunter until he got to the point where he just couldn't pull it back anymore, so he went to the crossbow. And it just wasn't quite in range. I think it was
62 steps.
yeah. And
Wait a minute. Was that 62 of Joe's steps or 62 of yours? Okay.
But I stretch
it
them.
was 40 yards.
45.
30 feet.
But I remember all of us in camp sitting there watching the
I know
video
it.
that night. His granddaughter Haley filmed it all, and we're like, "What the heck?" And you should have picked the rifle up. Nope, he was good with not. And actually, that was the same. So that was the same day, the same year that I had that permit I was talking about. I shot the bull in the last 20 minutes, and I think I told you that
That's right,
morning.
that's
Sent
right.
you to this road.
You sent me to the spot, actually. Yep. Yep.
And they got out. I told them, "Oh, this spot's." It reminded me of Alaska. This spot. It was just beautiful. Like when you get in there, it opened up, and I mean, beautiful. So they never even. You literally got out of the truck and called. And,
We got out of the truck, and I went up the road while the guys were getting their gear on, and I walk up the road a little bit, and the road was just torn ruined. Everything around it. So I said, geez, we don't have to go anywhere. It just happened.
Right.
There was
They
no
were
doubt
there.
in my
They
mind.
were
They
right
just
there.
did it, yeah. So I'm waiting for those guys. And I just started calling, and he come out, and he come out with every bush there ever was on his antlers. And so they're like, and they were deaf, both of them.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, we can't see the horns. We can't see the horns. And I'm going, I can imagine what's underneath all that grass, boys.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. Yeah. And it was a nice bull, a very
It
nice
was beautiful bull, and
Yeah.
Walt was tickled with it because of the show they got and everything.
Yeah.
Just the details of the hunt.
bull. Yeah. Well, I remember they couldn't hear. And he had his granddaughter, and she was probably in her 20s. Well, she could hear them young ears, you know. And we'd go to a spot, and we'd call, and we'd hear one. And they go, we don't hear these moose you're hearing. And finally, about Wednesday, his granddaughter goes, I hear them. So he hears them, okay? She got mad at those guys. Keep telling me, we don't hear those bulls, they kept saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their grunts are low, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when you're calling first thing in the morning, there's times where it's like you got to like try to time your hearing between your heartbeats, and did I just hear one? And you're like thinking you're having this
second guess
battle in your head about whether you're
It's
hearing one or not.
That's something that I don't hear. I can hear cow bellows way better than a grunt, but whatever the frequency is what I have a real problem with. And I've told this story many times about in Alaska with Lee Shands, and we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden I see him. He hears a bull grunt. It was 500 yards, and I I looked at the bull that he heard, and he heard it before we saw it, and it just blew me away. So I think there's, if you or I got 500 yards away and went, whoa, whoa, you'd never hear it.
Right.
It's that guttural that their
it's-
lungs are so
the
big
lung,
and so much air
Yeah.
that it's pushing that out, and it travels. But I just don't hear that frequency well.
Yeah. I'm glad I do because I love it. It's one of my favorite sounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's
I could
awesome.
tell by the way you did your
Yeah.
run a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it's an elk bugle.
Yeah. It's our elk.
I just love an elk bugle.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm more addicted to elk hunting
Oh, I don't
in the
blame
last
you.
20 years than whitetail hunting. I'd rather hunt elk.
I've never heard one.
Oh my God, make your hair stand
I've never
up on the
heard
back
one,
of your
but
neck.
from the way everyone describes it, I definitely want to.
Yeah. I've never been out chasing elk.
You haven't?
Nope.
Oh
so
my
that
God.
would be that'd be something to hear.
No addiction.
Yeah.
You better get a second job.
I got one.
You'll need it.
Yeah.
So did you hear what he just said? He'd rather elk hunt than whitetail hunt.
Yeah, he's told me that before.
I would.
He has?
Yeah.
I never would think I'd hear that from you.
I really would.
Holy
Well, I think that's
cow.
why so many guys get so hung up on turkeys. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's rare you get to communicate like that
Interaction.
with an animal.
Yeah.
That's why I tell a lot of my clients, when you talk to them before the season, you're on the phone, I go, the first thing I ask, do you turkey hunt? They go, oh yeah, I love the turkey hunt. I go, it's just the same. It's just a bigger prize.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
It is. It's the same.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've always been drawn to moose. I've just
Right, 'cause you can communicate.
love moose hunting.
Right,
And you're
yeah.
communicating with them and getting that response. And whitetails to a certain extent as well, but
Well,
just not as
it's
back and
it's
forth.
rare.
As
So
moose.
in the last 5 years, like I kind of always had a grunt call years ago, but I never carried one tracking ever. And in the last 5 years, I've really started. In nowadays, I won't go track without my grunt call. It's
No,
like
never.
the
I know.
most important tool
Mhm.
besides my rifle.
you
And-
leave it at the house and you realize you turn around and go get it.
Oh yeah, you go get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I did. I left it at the house 2 years ago, and I drove almost from the Forks all the way home to get
Yeah.
it. But instead of coming in on a whitetail and you realize he's feeding and he's meandering now, or you say he's laying right here, you just know.
Oh yeah, you can feel it.
It hits you.
Mhm.
It's like he's right here. So now instead of spending an hour poking that 100 yards, you grunt and you just hold still. You just flip the whole game. He's coming to you now. So in two aspects, now you get to actually look at his horn. So I've let 3 bucks go in the last 3 or 4 years that I know I would have shot if I jumped them out of their beds, because I'd have seen that flash of antlers and boom, I'd have been shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in and I'm like, he's not really a deer I want to tag up.
Yep.
And I'd walk out, go back to the truck, find another track. So, I mean, grunting with deer, you don't hear them hardly ever grunt back.
Yep.
Very seldom. But if you learn, and once it works, I tell everybody, I said, once you've seen it work once, you gain that confidence.
Yeah.
And you know it's going to happen.
Yep.
So you do wait.
Yeah.
You know?
And learning lessons too. You learn a lot.
Oh my God.
Because I do the same thing. I don't track a whole lot.
Right.
But I've shot plenty of deer doing, not necessarily tracking, but like spot and stalking and just working your way through the timber.
Spot and
and
stalk is great
Yeah.
for grunting, especially if you know where that bedding area is and you
But-
can close enough.
make sure you can shoot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they come quick. I've had some
yeah.
where it's just they were 30 yards from me.
Right.
And you grunt and they turn and they're running
see,
at you.
Putting yourself in the right spot before you grunt
Yeah.
is
Well, that's
key.
the thing. See, now
Yeah.
if we weren't using grunt tubes and bleach like we are now, you never thought about where you were standing when you right.
Right.
You really had no. The deer
Right.
jumped. They jumped. You don't know what you know.
Didn't care.
But when because my last 4 bucks of all I've called them in. My last 4. One, I had one. It was in a swamp. I mean, a gross. And there was 2 of them down there grunting and running around.
Yeah.
I just hit the bleed, and he walked right to. I shot him at 30 feet.
Yeah.
But you know what? I never would have done that if I didn't use a call.
If
Yeah.
you didn't
I
have
would have gone down in that shithole and tried to kill him. I probably wouldn't have. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
amazing we didn't. I can remember when I was a kid, way, way, way back, and you'd hear a deer grunt. You had no clue what that was. I can
No.
remember telling my uncle, "Those are tree toads, I think," and he laughed at me. I said, "That's what I said. I think those are tree frogs." But you didn't know. You didn't have no clue back in them days. Nobody
really,
even had
no.
a grunt tube back in the 60s.
Right.
No one had
Yeah.
grunt tubes.
Yeah.
No way.
My new grunt tube, my nor'easter grunt tube, you can slide that, and Joe saw me demonstrate it all weekend at Huntstock, but you can slide that to a point. I got a mark on it, and it sounds identical to the can. Identical.
Yeah.
Oh,
You-
so
yeah.
you got it all in one.
You eliminate the can,
Yeah.
and you just hit that.
I wouldn't know, Rick. I don't have a Rick Labby grunt tube.
I will say,
I'll
watching
get
Rick,
you one.
watching Rick at the show, and it's all personal experience and everything he's done. You're not walking away from that booth without buying it.
Yeah, he's selling it to you.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's that. And then you can switch it to the bait, and he's doing them and just back and forth
Actually,
all weekend.
I'm just getting my voice back today from grunting so much.
Yeah.
I remember, like the can. The first thing you do when you get a can is throw the tape away,
Right.
and use your voice.
Yes.
That's a secret with a can.
Yeah.
I started doing that at seminars.
And it's all
the
about
Maine sportsman
all
show.
about the volume of air. Same
Yep,
thing with the grunt
it is.
tube. It's
That's
that
why you can do that.
You practice with it, and the air volume is key
Yes.
for sound.
Yeah.
And that's why you take that tape off and do that.
Yeah.
And then and I really believe it sounds better. There's no doubt in my mind. Plus, you can make it louder. You
No,
can make it.
I agree
yeah.
with you 100%, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, the first buck I ever killed was that big 9-point, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I had it was an old Primos call. It had reeds on both sides, so you could blow out and suck the air back
Right,
through.
I remember those.
Yeah, so I had
Two-way call.
Yeah, I had a
Yep.
doe bleat on the bottom side, and then I had it set up for a buck grunt on the one side, and it was two ridges came together in this little swale grass bottom, and it was just a little bit of water in the bottom. And I saw a deer track. And of course, I'm 16. I don't know anything. And I'm like, oh, there's a deer track. I'll go sit up on this ridge and call. So I go up, sit on a stump. I grunt 2 or 3 times. I rattle. I put my rattling bag down, which was just like an old school wooden rattle bag. I doe bleeded twice. I set that down. I looked up, and he comes right out on that other ridge with his ears right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy
right.
crap, that works.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked, you know.
When
Oh,
I first
yeah.
moved to
Yeah.
Maine, a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine that lives in Tennessee, came up hunting. I had some friends. They come from Florida and everything, and we come the same week and just hunt out of my property in Skowhegan. And we had the stands were up. I used to set those stands way up high. So my buddy Chris is up in this stand, and he's texting me about this. First, he said someone's on the property with a little dirt bike or something, and then a second later, I think it might be a deer. So he said it came down the road nonstop the whole time. He said it was like it didn't even take a breath, and it was trailing a doe, and he could hear it coming
Right.
down and turning, and it was a constant. He said, Joe, it sounded just like a motor, and then it would it was running that doe in the thick stuff. She was obviously getting ready to breed.
Yeah.
And he said he's up there like this, moving around with his gun, wait for it to come out. Never came out of the thick stuff, but he said he learned so much from listening to that, because once it came out of that, it was like clicking.
Really?
Yep. He said he'd never heard vocalizations like that before.
I've heard so many deer grunt in my lifetime, especially sitting in Saskatchewan in stands where you see 10 or 15 bucks a day back in the old days, that I really don't think you could mess a grunt up, because I've literally heard 100 different vocalizations of bucks, just, whether it's that roar or just long grunts, short grunts, everything. I really don't think you can screw it up.
Right.
I think if the call sounds authentic, really any sound you make with it, it sounds like another deer.
Right.
And it's just like calling any animal too. You got to get that animal that's in that right mindset for it to work.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
I always like to call the way I've heard things in the woods.
Same
You know what I
here.
mean?
Right.
Yeah, and in hunting in Maine, I mean that's where I hunt most of my. I've hunted out of the States, but when I've heard bucks grunt in the woods, 9 out of 10 times it's very subtle and very you got to listen type stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mhm.
I've never heard like the long like Joe just
Right.
I
talked
never
about.
I have.
I never
Yeah.
heard that.
Or
I
like
was
the
just
buck roar.
I was going
now
with-
that's a big thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing with the wheezing and all that. Have you heard that in Maine?
Snort wheeze?
Yeah, and all that.
A couple of times.
Have you? See, I never have.
I snort wheezed a big 135-inch 8-point in.
Really? Did
Yeah.
you now? But did you hear that deer snort wheeze?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
See,
But
I've
it's
never heard one do it in me.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever heard one do it either. I've heard plenty of grunts.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they're always like I don't hear that big. Brr. I don't ever hear
Right,
that. It's
right.
more like a brr, brr, like it's
Yeah,
almost
more of a click, like a buck.
like almost what you would think a younger buck would sound like.
I got
Even an older
I got an
deer.
uncle. I was telling some guys at the show this weekend. He came from Texas, and he moved up here, and he went and sat over to our family hunting camp. First night he sat there, he killed a really big doe, and I said, I was kind of curious. I said, "Would you kill her on the oaks or whatever?" And he goes, "No, I grunted her in." I said, "What do you got for a grunt?" He goes, "Oh, I just burp," and He says, I just take a deep breath and belch and just, with his,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it's coming from his stomach, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, I've grunted all my deer in like that my whole life, even down in Texas. He goes, I just let out a burp every now and then. And
Well, that's those mountain deer guys that come up here from, I think they're Vermont or
Rodney?
New Hampshire. Yeah, Rodney and those
Yeah.
guys, they all mouth grunt.
yeah,
So it's just got to sound close, like you said.
Well, like Rick says, you ain't got to be right on. It's just like calling a cow calling.
yeah.
You hear everybody cow calls kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You know.
But to your point that you said a minute ago is watching them. I had a hunt with a client 6 or 8 years ago, and we got into we could hear the bull in with the cow. And he would not come out. He was in some thick stuff, so we went in after him, and we got in like right within 25, 30 yards where it's real tight cover, and you could just barely see the cow and the bull in there. And that cow was, I'm videoing it, and it's just sitting there moaning. It was these long, just real low and soft.
Yeah.
I would listen to that. I put that video on my phone. I'd listen to it while I was driving and just try to mimic it, to get good at it.
Right.
Because it was, that bull wasn't going anywhere, and I think it was that time when she was just getting ready to breed. She was real low, soft. So it's not always those long, drawn out cow calls like
right.
we all do all the time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the, I don't want to say mistakes that a lot of newer callers are making out, is that bellow that cow's doing is seldom ever like really long.
Right.
Like there's guys that are like,
Right.
just going on and on, and
Yeah.
it's always like it's more choppy.
Shanzy has a great cow call, his natural call, and he's much shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always. I always have been short too. Yeah.
Unless it's windy and you got to yell.
Yeah.
you know, but
I remember when the buck expert thing came out. Remember those when they came out with the moose calls there.
The moose call, yeah.
Buck expert. Well, when I did a hunt and those guys were there.
Yeah.
And they're showing it on there, but that's what they were. And it's like, I never heard a cow do
Never
that.
heard one that long.
No,
right, right.
really. But that's how.
Yeah.
And so it's like. They said, well, no, you got to use this call. I'm not using that call. I said, number one, that's not what a cow sounds like. That forever thing lasts for 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever,
We had the old birch bark to get the sound
but
out.
they were always shorter.
Right,
shorter.
Yeah.
Until
but I think it's like like we were saying, if they're in the right mood, anything's going to work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, for
so
sure.
it doesn't-
Especially a moose. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all wrong
Yeah.
when you get right down to it.
Yeah. You get a bull. A lot of guys will. I had a bull grunt and he hung up and went away. We'll go back in a couple of days. It's like get in there.
I'll play with moose.
Yeah.
Like, we got Shiras in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyoming's so open, and most of the time they're up in the sagebrush, and they're in those short quakies, we call them, which are like a poplar tree here, but we call them quakies out west. And that seems to be every time you see the moose, they're in the quakies somewhere. So I'll just play with them when I'm out there and start grunting at them. And they're so easy to call in out west. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody really does it out west. Everyone's spotting and stalking them.
Yeah. But Russ Lambert, he's been after me to come out and guide for him, and I'd really like to do it for like a week or two.
Yeah.
And he says, you need to come out and guide moose hunters for me, and because I love the whole horseback thing and handling horses and packing and all that, and it would fit right in perfect if I could just get the time.
Yeah.
Now, those moose aren't as big as our Easterns, are they?
Rack-wise, no, but they're pretty good sized body.
Are they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they got some pretty good sized bodies on them. They're big moose.
The ones I've seen, I've only seen them in person a few times, but they always remind me of like a 45-inch bull with decent palms.
Right.
Yeah.
Is like
Just
the
like a
kind.
real
Well,
solid
they
moose.
just out west the Shiras seem to kind of grow in more like this. You see a lot of them. You never see the real
Like cupped up.
Cupped
yeah,
up,
exactly. You never see them really wide, square. Like our bulls are noted for being square and really wide like that. You never see that out west hardly ever. They're always kind of
They seem pointier out there too. Like their points are longer.
tines are longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get you a Shiras moose out then.
I was just going to ask you if you've done. Have you done one yet?
I've never done a Shiras.
Okay, that was my next question.
That's a hard tag to get.
Yeah.
Tough
it is,
tag.
yeah.
And it's legit once in a lifetime too for most states, right?
Yeah, I've never even put in for one in Wyoming. I got a cabin out there, and I've never been interested in hunting moose out there.
Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of time, right? It's kind of like, I've wanted you to go out to Alaska with me, but that coincides with your elk season, which
I
you
know.
want to do, and
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
process. You can only do so
what's
much.
happening, I'll end up doing it, because now what's happening is Wyoming's up to 5 points to draw a tag now. I used to draw a tag every single year with 1 point until
you
COVID.
serious?
5 points this year.
All those
Yeah.
elk states are getting harder and
Oh,
harder.
Every
my
time,
God.
every year, it gets longer and longer.
One
When I
more
started,
point
it
every
was-
year.
And
yeah.
it's more and more people in the public land too,
Yeah.
it seems like.
Yeah,
Which
way
is good,
more.
but
yeah.
and
but
bad.
It's just everything's changed now, and so me owning my cabin in Wyoming, I came to the point last year where I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I can only draw a tag every 4 or 5 years now. Is it worth owning my cabin? But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start trying to draw every state around, so I got points in every state now, so at least if I can use my camp as a home base, because I love it out at my cabin, and then I could just, like this year I'm hunting Wyoming, I drew a tag, but then I'm going to drive down, it's 4.5 hour drive, and I'm going to hunt Medicine Bow Mountains in Colorado with my muzzleloader. So I'm going to try to, rotate every year now, and and then rotating every season's different too, so they don't all coincide.
You bringing that 500-yard woodman?
I am. So I got a 500-yard woodsman. I got the Revic peep sight.
Oh, yeah.
That's adjustable.
Yep.
And that's one of my goals this next coming weekend is to start sighting that in. I got to shoot it through a chronograph, right? So I looked all the stuff up on it last night. And you go on, Revic has a sight on there. So I'm going to determine how many grains of powder I'm going to shoot, which will probably be, I don't know, between 130 and 150 grains of blackhorn, because Colorado you can't use smokeless, you can't use telescopics, and it has to be a 50 caliber, it can't be a 45 for elk. So Mark Woodman built me this gun, and Jeff brought it to the show, and I bought that Revic sight, and Mark mounted it on, and I mean, the thing looks awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was going to ask to borrow that for Iowa when I go out there.
you can.
If you're not hunting anything, then
Yep.
Now, when you go out
Who's
west for your elk hunts, are you out there until you kill one, or are you on a time frame? I know you
No,
own your own business and
yeah,
stuff.
I not being cocky, I usually kill a really nice bull within the first 2 days.
Really?
Every trip.
Yeah.
Every trip. But
Knock on wood.
yeah, 20 years, 20 bulls
Wow.
I've killed, and a lot of time if we got snow, I track them just like whitetails. I find a big bull, and sometimes when I get out there, they're not bugling, kind of like the late moose season. They shut right up and they're quiet and they're tired, and you can walk right by them and bugle, and they'll just lay right in their bed up on the side of a mountain or something, won't answer you at all. And so yeah, I love hunting elk on snow. That's a blast.
I bet.
Tracking them just like a buck.
is this is the time? When is it that you put in for the points for?
Right now,
Yeah.
for Wyoming. Yeah, you've got till October 31st right now. So
Okay.
Wyoming's one of the longest point period states that there are. It goes from July 1st to October 31st.
Okay.
So
That's one you don't want to miss when you're up to 3 points or something. And
Yeah.
no, you don't want to miss it. Yeah, you can skip a year if you make a mistake, and they won't take your points away. You skip 2 years and you go to 0.
Okay. So same as Maine then for
Same
moose.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
thing. A lot of the states are that way.
Yeah.
But it's become a point thing on any of the really good states. I don't care if it's whitetail or elk, where you want to kill a really good quality scoring animal, you're going to end up buying points. So you just got to start doing it and get in the game.
So I have some notes here, and one of them was that Neil told me to bring up was, I have no idea what it's a reference to, but a program with the state.
Oh, NRCS program?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife and I in 2020 bought a nice little chunk of land in Winterport. So we're just starting the process. I really don't know what it is going to entail, but basically they're going to work with us to help manage the forest and the wildlife, just on the standpoint of I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't want to cut the wrong stuff, basically. So we had a couple of biologists out and walk the property, and that was eye-opening on, because I have a couple winter yards on the property. I don't hold hundreds of deer by any means, but there's 15, 20 deer out there.
Yeah.
And I thought I wanted to open up the canopy a little bit to get some sunshine on the ground, to get some food growing. And he's like, no, don't touch
Right.
this. He's like, you have enough food around. You don't need to touch these spots. And just like that little stuff was pretty cool. So we're still in the applying process and all that.
So what is it? It's a program just to help habitat for deer, and they
Yes.
come in and free of charge?
It's free of charge. A lot of times there's programs you can apply for. So if you were going to do a management program and go through them, my biggest thing is it's my property. I don't want to be told what I can and can't do on it.
Yep.
And this doesn't seem to be like that at this point. So, they might have some grant money that you can apply for. So let's say you wanted to cut off your timber, and they're like, we'll give you $5,000. You can do whatever with that $5,000. You can buy all the equipment and do it yourself, or you can hire somebody and give that $5,000 to them and have them come in and select cut or whatever. So we're still applying right now, so I don't know all the details yet.
Yeah, I'd like to get the contact info.
Yeah,
because I'd like to take them out of my property and look at it.
Yeah.
And just, see what their thoughts are. It's primarily, it's a different type of piece because it's a lot of bog. It's very flat.
Yeah.
And I've just got one really big food plot there that I did a few years back. But other than that, I don't know. It's not a typical type of, it's got a lot of deer, but it's not your typical Maine deer habitat just because of the bogs,
Right.
the bog
Yeah.
situation.
Get oaks though,
We hunt.
right?
Me and my buddy Sandy hunt bobcats, and we used to run coyotes back when I had hounds on Joe's property, and it was a heck of a deer yard. But I think the bog, in the thick cover is 90% of the food source there, and the reason they stay there. I really think that property of yours was a bigger deer yard years ago before Hank cut it.
And before next door cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right, because it was all
It's
spruce.
a huge deer yard.
Yeah, huge. I mean, I'm
Lot of
talking
pine.
like 400 or 500 deer
Oh, really?
in
Wow.
there years ago.
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
not as many now.
The first time I went there, when I went to look at it before I bought it, I drove in it first, and it was like a bomb went off. Everything was flattened, and I didn't go in that far. I turned around and left. I'm like, I'm not going to buy this. So I told my neighbor, who was a forester and real familiar with that area, and he said, let's go take a ride on sleds out there and go further back in and see. So we went out there. I mean, there was deer everywhere.
Everywhere.
They were.
Really?
I just hadn't gone in
Crazy.
far enough and didn't like how they cut
I mean,
it.
the trail's 2 feet wide, just packed down, crisscrossing everywhere, just hundreds of deer.
Well, it's hard to find good acreage
Yeah.
nowadays that isn't flattened before you buy it.
Yeah.
That was why we wanted this piece. It's
Right.
220 acres, and it's got ridges and mountains, and it's got a big swamp on it, and it's got a bunch
everything.
of oaks. It's got everything.
Yeah. You need that canopy, though, to hold deer in the winter.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't
Oh yeah,
realize
for sure,
that.
for sure. Yeah.
And
Any
the last-
critters. Any critters.
Yeah.
You need
The last of
Yeah.
that real good canopy was on the neighboring property, and I mean,
Yeah.
they
Slaughtered it.
destroyed it.
Mm.
And I remember going in there the winter they cut it, and when the deer are still there feeding on tops and everything, and I'd never seen so many deer in my life that
It's
were
good.
yarded up
When
together.
they go in and cut a canopy like that, it's great for a year or two.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can't even go
Then it's
through it.
not.
No, and then
Yeah.
after that, it's so thick, and there's nothing there to hold the deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was part of the why I liked the property we got so much. Is it the previous owner? You have to go through this like Farm Act thing first, and then you can apply. You get like a farm ID number, even though you're not technically farming anything. And then once you have that ID number, then you can apply for the NRCS. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure who your contact would be. I can find it for you though, because it's regional. So
Is that
mine.
Natural Resource Council?
Yeah.
What's the S?
Sure. I don't know. I can't
Because
remember.
I know of NRCM, which is National Resource Council of Maine.
I can't remember what the S stands
Okay.
for.
Anyway.
But yeah, so
Figure
anyway,
it out.
I'll let you know because I have a sheet that has all the contacts for each region. So mine's out of Belfast technically because I'm
Okay.
in Waldo County.
Yep.
But the previous owner, he like select cut the property, so it was like really good undergrowth, good canopy, a lot of oaks. I have no acorns this year, but most years I'm riddled with it. It's like walking on marbles through the woods.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah,
So do you have any moose trips you're going on this year?
nothing this year.
No
Nope.
moose hunts. So
Nope.
you're
I
taking
took the last 3 days of the September hunt off and the last 3 days of the October hunt off, so I can be in my shop.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going with
Yeah.
that. So you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
And how are people going to find you? I mean, aside from we're going to have stuff on with all your stuff. But
yeah, so I got a website, peaktaxidermy.com. I update my pricing and all that every year, so that's usually up to date, plus photos and all that. Social media on Facebook, Peak Taxidermy, Peak Taxidermy _207 on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm usually doing videos and pictures, and I'm one of those guys that I know what it's like waiting for a deer. So if I'm working on someone's deer, I'm taking pictures and sending it to them and like kind of updating them and stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's talk about pricing a little bit, because I know that I saw it was just a random taxidermy. I think it was Deer Mounts of America or something, the page I'm on. And a guy listed his rates, his prices for mounts. And the comments I saw, there's so many people that are still living in the 90s and early 2000s as far as pricing goes.
Yeah, wicked. I don't know how they're making a living.
If you're getting your deer done for $450, I'm going to guess it's not real good.
Yeah, there you go. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
In the taxidermy world.
Even in our state, like we kind of, the Northeast is a little bit on the higher side as far as worldwide goes for taxidermy pricing, just because it's cost us a little bit more to get stuff shipped out to us. But if you're paying under $800 out here, you should go into this guy's shop and look at his stuff.
Right. Well, for example, the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 or 4 different quality of eyes you can buy.
Oh yeah.
And ears, forms, everything.
Same,
So when you're paying $450 for a deer form, folks, you are getting the bottom Walmart stuff for your deer head.
And the only reason I said that number is because there was actually guys on there that were saying, "Well, I got mine done for $450 and it looks great."
Right. Well, that's the part of the problem too, is most guys don't know what they're looking at. They get their, that's what's they're looking at their rack, and it's like, oh, it looks great on my wall, and it does, but when you start looking at the details, the eyes are actually just one color instead of being 3 or 4 colors. The nose pad doesn't have that grayish black to skin tone underneath, and like all those little teeny details. There's no bumps added back on the nodule of the nose. There's no, it's just
the deer I just got back the other day that they surprised me with at my buck bash came from Northeast Taxidermy down in Connecticut.
Yep.
And you saw it.
Yep.
It's that 200-inch I killed.
Deer.
That is hands down. You look at the detail, the best deer. It's just like he just walked out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
The best deer. I mean, like he brought it back to life.
Yeah.
The best looking mount on my wall right now.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, 2000, I think it was, got my first moose done, and Art Feta from Southern Maine did it. And Art, I don't even know if Art's doing it anymore. I know
I don't think he is.
Eric used to work for him.
He did,
helping him out and everything. So Eric learned a lot about taxidermy. Actually, has educated me a lot on it. But it was $1,000 for that.
There's a lot back then.
Yeah. Yep. No, I take it back. That one was $800.
Wow.
And then I know they went to like $1,200 on the next one, and moose are expensive now. That's the bottom line. They're a big animal. There's a lot of supplies.
They're $3,000, or up, depending on they're anywhere
what you
from
want.
they're anywhere from 20, and that's a part of it too. You look at like a base stock price for a whitetail head, and you can make that as expensive as you want. If you want me to alter it, that's cost time. So that's an extra charge. If you want habitat, that's extra charge. So you can turn a $900 deer head into $1,500 pretty quick.
Yep.
I know it's all personal preference, and so I don't want to offend anyone, but I am not a fan of habitat. I like
not on like a shoulder mount.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a life size, of course you have to have a little bit of something. And it's got to have a base anyway, so it just makes sense. But like you see some of these ones where they've got branches and everything all around on a shoulder mount, and it's poking its head out and all this. Personal preference, everyone's got their own thing, but for me,
I'm the same way.
I don't like a piece of wood behind it.
No,
nothing.
I like my deer heads clean. Yeah, every one of them.
Well, you got to think too, like your maintenance long term on that. Like you look at Neil's buck he just got back. It's a beautiful mount with the snow scene and all that. He's gonna have to dust that.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
that was a nice job.
A lot more
nice looking deer.
Yeah, it was a good looking deer. Yeah. But there's upkeep in that. So it's personal preference. It's some people want it, could helps tell a story or whatever.
But, exactly.
And I'm happy to do it. Obviously, we all are. But as far as like my deer, it's just a deer on the wall.
Right.
Yeah. But I do
So-
I do have one picked out that I would do something special with. He's just got to commit to my property. I got a whiskey barrel and everything all ready for him.
One thing I found over the years that a deer that really means something to you, because you know the story, means nothing to anybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
And it
thing
should
too.
be.
Like
Yeah.
most of these guys will come into my shop and they're telling me their deer stories, and it's great to hear. But I don't chime in. I don't add my own stories, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they want to tell. This is their moment.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
their time. They
Oh,
want
yeah.
to tell their stories, and I just let them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
I've
Yeah.
always thought that about a taxidermist too. I mean, no one's ever coming in to bring their deer without telling you the story.
Right. You
Right,
hear the
right.
story 2 or 3 times, because
Yeah.
even though you tell them it's going to be 15 months, 18 months, a year, whatever, they tell you it when they drop it off. They call you 6 months later to check in.
Yeah.
You hear it then,
Yeah.
and then when they pick it up, they hear it again. It's funny. I have 2 ends of the spectrum on customers. Some guys come in, oh, it looks great, grab it, and they're gone. And then I have guys that'll be there for an hour, looking at everybody
Yeah,
else's stuff
right.
and talking about what we did and how the hunt went.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing like going around a taxidermy shop looking at different antlers.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
You
awesome.
know, different bucks and everything.
It can humble you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think you have a nice one, and then you.
In a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what always gets me, what I love about it, is just seeing what Maine is capable of producing.
oh, with
Just
the
giants in Maine.
with the lack of ag that we have, and the lack of feeding programs, and the fact that it's mostly big timber, the fact that we're getting 160 plus inch deer every year in our shops, all of us are,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, you look, perfect example. You look at the 3 bucks Brian Ross brought to hunt stock that are all Maine deer. The Ramsey buck, 202-inch 8-point frame. It's the biggest in the world.
yeah, that was
Came from
that was
Maine.
Wallow County buck.
Yeah, it
right?
was Waldo
Yeah.
County.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Hill Gould buck, which has the biggest circumferences of, I think, any measurements ever of any deer ever, and it's 273 inches, something like that. And then the Silver Ridge buck, all Maine deer.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
me, that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
is-
is.
that is the
Yeah.
ultimate.
So you said feeding program a minute ago, and it reminded me. I just wanted to go back. We did a previous podcast about Gordon Berry. Garnett was here,
Yeah.
and there was so much stuff to talk about, and we were kind of on a time schedule, so we couldn't get into
Right.
everything. But one of the major things about Gordon Berry that he did was he had the feeding program down in the Forks, and he fed those deer through the entire winter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
From the day after season ended until they walked out of there and didn't need feed anymore.
I'll tell you right now, the reason we even have deer in this country is because when we lost all our deer back in, what was it, 2007, 8 or whatever,
7 and 8,
Yeah.
yeah.
we lost all our deer in this North Country. Gordon was feeding those deer, and those deer, that was the only deer left.
Right.
You remember?
Right.
That was the only
Yes,
deer left
yeah.
around. We lost
I know. I
everything.
guided up here.
Yeah.
I know how many days there were. None.
But they slowly migrated back out. So,
Yeah.
I truly believe that if
He
he,
did.
hadn't have done
he
what
changed
he did,
history.
he did.
He did. He really
Absolutely.
did. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I don't think there's anything better. I mean, obviously you got to be careful what you feed. Don't go out there and throw a bunch of corn out, because
Right.
you're going to kill them. But
Right.
you get them on an oat program through the wintertime and into the spring. Like honestly, that like February into
Right.
May is when they really need that food.
The one
Yeah,
negative
right at
thing
the
about
end.
the
Yeah.
negative thing about feeding it, and it's this it's the shed thing, is you get people on a main road that are in competition with each other, right, on a highway, and they're both feeding the deer, and they're,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just
Just
back
crossing.
and forth
Yeah.
constantly.
Terrible on a bad winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
And more get killed by the damn cars than if they hadn't fed them.
Yeah.
I wish
But-
they'd actually take it back off 201 quite a ways and
Yeah.
and
But
do
I'm,
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Right.
Joe. But you know what? Not that many get run over in town.
No, that's not.
That's good.
well,
Yeah,
Maybe in Jackman, but I remember a couple of years ago in the Forks there was 100.
Oh
of them.
man,
yeah,
yes.
it's over 100.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Oh,
a
really?
lot has to do with what kind of winter we have.
Yeah.
When we have those tall banks and everything.
Yeah.
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 The
Definitely makes it
funnels them
worse.
right onto the road.
But I keep track here, and not that many get run over. Really.
No,
no.
Part of it too is the speed limit in towns. So everybody
Yeah.
looks out for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully, the boys take that over, or someone in town does. They have to, kind of at this point. Someone has to.
I would
because
say
it's a
so.
responsibility that
Yeah.
those deer now for generations have come, and that's where they know to come.
Yeah.
And if they all come there showing up looking for food,
Well, it's the same
And
with
it's not
Brownville.
there.
If Brownville decides to stop feeding those
Oh,
deer,
yeah.
they're
Oh,
all
right.
dead.
Be
You know,
over.
There's another place that they've
Yeah.
changed the whole thing over
Yeah,
there by
exactly.
having that deer farm.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you look at
pantry.
the same bucks are coming back every year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know if these guys monitor like what they have for deer, but Brownville does a pretty good
Oh,
job.
I'm sure Gordon.
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gordon knew.
Yep.
So
Every deer.
yeah, so they're getting the same, these big mature bucks that are eluding the thousands of us that are out there
I
trying
know.
to kill them.
It's amazing.
It's
I
crazy.
check in on that every once in a while, and it amazes me on how many bucks they got
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it makes you want to put a tracking collar on him and go, where the heck did he
It's-
go? No,
Yeah.
that a buck 8, 9, 10 years old that has eluded hunters his whole life.
There's a
Yep.
one of my coworkers his dad has property in Milo, and he's probably 12 miles away from where they feed, and he'll get the same deer on his trail camera on his property that
Yeah.
they're feeding in the winter.
Right.
So
Yeah, oh, yeah.
they travel more in the winter than you would think.
Oh, yeah, way more.
Oh
Yeah.
there's a study I saw that state did radio collar does, and they were wintering in Parkman, which is down by Monson, and they were covering 50-mile straight line up to here, crossing the Kennebec, spending the summer, the late summer and fall, right here, like literally 2 miles from here,
Yeah.
and they would be right in a small area for a bit in the fall, and then they would head right back down to Parkman.
Yeah.
And like clockwork, and it's amazing. Just like we were talking about on the episode we did with Nancy about the bees, they have a homing system. And
Oh, they
know
do.
where to go.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
That's it.
Yeah.
I remember guiding in 09, 2010. I almost felt guilty.
Yeah.
'Cause if you didn't have the right client, you weren't even going to see a deer.
Yeah,
you weren't
right.
You weren't even going to see a track sometimes. That's how bad it was back then, if you remember.
Yeah.
Remember, Rick? It was
I do.
horrible.
I remember.
I remember I got on a buck track in 2010 during Thanksgiving week up in T-Loss, and it was like you said, you felt bad. This deer was doing the same thing I was doing, which was looking for deer,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
wasn't finding any. Just going for miles, never
Yeah.
even caught up, just
Yeah.
never even stopped.
Yeah.
If you got on a buck track, if you did get on a buck track back then,
Yeah.
you were going for a ride.
I've had a few that I actually, back in my younger days, you get towards the end of the season, and I pick up their track on the Spencer Road, and I ended up in the Forks on that buck. He went right over, Granny's Cap, Hedgehog Mountain, and just kept going and going and going, and I ended up down next to the Dead River in the Forks.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's
so
a walk.
Yeah, 10, 12 miles in a straight line.
I think that's unique to us in the Northeast too, with like the migrating deer. I don't, the Midwest they don't have
No, it
that.
is unique.
Yeah, and so it's kind of, I think it is. Aren't they
The
kind
white-
of a technically a
Yeah,
different
the
species?
whitetails out
Yep.
west don't migrate, but the
No.
mule deer do.
Yeah,
The mule
really.
deer migrate like 100 miles in Wyoming.
No
Yep.
kidding.
Yeah, they go right past my camp.
Oh yeah, I guess I've heard of winter ranges for
Yep.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so they go to those winter ranges. Yeah.
I'm all about the migration thing.
yeah.
I shoot my bucks on using the migration stuff.
Yeah.
If there's the snow.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew Tommy Giroux one time was tracking a buck over by Fog Pond on the other side, like towards Powland Stream.
Yeah.
And the next day, he said that he was driving down the road with his brother, Alan, and that same buck crossed 201. And he swore up and down he knew that was the same buck.
If anybody
Oh,
know,
yeah,
it'd
that's
be
nothing,
Tommy
though.
Giro.
But that's not that far
Yeah, right.
No.
by the
yeah.
straight line, but it's a long ways.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect to see a deer from there
Yeah.
up in town, eh? So I always thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I knew that was the same buck. I was fogged.
Yeah,
No.
it is surprising. We get a lot of that now with trail cameras because we'll get a picture of one somewhere and then someone shoots it,
Yeah.
6 or 8 or 10 miles away.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing for those.
Old Tommy Giro, man, he shot some deer, huh?
Yeah. That's why when he told me the story, you believe that story. You don't
Right.
even hesitate. You know he's telling the truth.
Oh,
eh?
yeah.
But well, Jeff, I really appreciate you coming up here today. This was fun.
Yeah.
Enjoyed meeting you.
Yeah. Been
and
fun.
I'm sure we'll have a lot more conversations in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the things that came to mind is when someone's looking for someone to do their taxidermy work, in my opinion, you want someone that's a hunter, someone that is out there that appreciates the animals, sees them in
Absolutely.
their habitat and everything else, which it probably usually starts out that way, but I've known of guys that it's just a job and they do it. You want to find someone with passion for it. So
Yeah, I'm actually sad most of the time to see the deer leave because not
Right.
only is it a piece of art to me, but I put a lot of heart and soul in it. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
will.
yeah.
See,
Got to be super
Yeah.
rewarding.
That's
Yeah.
something you want to hear from
Yeah.
from a taxidermist.
Right.
You want to
Yeah.
hear that stuff. That's
But
awesome.
we also want to thank our sponsors, Northeast Troller, who I think Rick is probably their biggest fan.
He does
I
well
am.
with them.
Yeah, you do pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
We're hoping to have Christian on here.
yeah, that'll be a
soon.
good one with Christian on here. And yeah, he just sent me a whole box of stuff that I'm going to the Great Lakes with. So hopefully everything falls together and we make it out there.
Yeah, of course, Gary Williamson for
Yeah.
your real estate needs.
Yeah, yeah. You want anything over towards Western Maine in those mountains? You've got all the lakes over there, rivers, views, everything. He's got a lot of land. He's the guy to hook up with.
And it actually reminded me. Neil told me something. I don't know if it's your tagline or not. He said, "You hunt it and we honor it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty cool,
It is.
Yeah.
pretty cool way to look at it. So, anyway, that was fun.
Awesome.
Been a good
Yeah,
time
Awesome.
today.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please
Yeah.
subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're on there. I know a lot of guys just watch the video and not subscribe, but the subscriptions definitely help us. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. You guys know the routine. Anyway, all that is good support for us and keeps us going. And
Yeah, you got to like
We
and
appreciate
subscribe, folks. If you don't like and subscribe, we don't get the followers. So remember, like and subscribe.
yeah, so
Yep. So till next time, shoot straight.